to websites and fight internet crimes. The head of the new unit says his force will fight insults and spreading of lies, terms that the judiciary often uses to describe opposition activities. The reform movement has virtually no access to state media and has been getting its message across largely through the internet. All right, let's get some more on this. I'm joined in the studio by Iranian blogger Potkin Azarmehr. Thanks very much for coming in. Many countries have authorities, police authorities, to monitor what goes on the internet. Why shouldn't Iran?
Well, if it was just monitoring internet crime, meaning fraud or hacking or defamation and that sort of thing, that would be welcome. But this news actually came out on Iranian websites 2 weeks ago, and they were specifically calling it the Cyberspace unit was set up to deal with soft threats, which is normally meant with Velvet Revolution type activities. And you've got to remember that there isn't that much there is no credit card facilities in Iran, so it's not as if there is that much internet fraud in terms of like credit card fraud and things like that in Iran. So this is specifically to do with political. But
do we know that yet? I mean, it clearly hasn't had very long to prove itself.
Well, just before the election, the Intelligence Ministry announced a special cyberspace unit to deal with all sorts of internet crime. Then, after the elections, they said that all the internet service providers, they should keep 3 months backlog of all the internet activity of the users. Now there's another announcement saying now this time the police force has got a cyberspace unit. And it seems like they're just making a lot of announcements just to make people fear the use of internet. But they keep forgetting that people are not even scared of the live rounds on the streets, and they're not fearing that. So I doubt very much if this is going to have much effect on them using the internet either.
That's what I wanted to ask, because even throughout the sort of post-election period, there were attempts to stop people using the internet. It didn't really prevent anyone from doing that. There was all sorts of methods being used for people to get onto Twitter using fake IP addresses. Is this going to make any difference?
I don't think so. I think the authorities forget that they're dealing with a very internet-savvy youth, which is a large portion of the population inside Iran, as well as very much internet-savvy expats who are helping the movement inside Iran. And at the end of the day, even if they stop the whole internet altogether, all people have to do, all they can do is just download it onto memory sticks and then post the memory sticks to the outside of Iran.
Can you get things like Facebook in Iran at the moment?
You can do, but you need to have the anti-filter softwares. Right. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work.
So it's not free. You're not free to get onto Facebook.
Not without using these anti-filters. No, you need to know about the proxies that are coming out on a daily basis, or use software like FreeGate, which sometimes it works, sometimes it runs out of proxies. It all depends. It's difficult, but they manage, and they will manage.
I mean, it doesn't sound much worse than China in relation to this sort of thing. I mean, having worked in China a fair bit, I mean, there are similar restrictions there. At times you can't get onto YouTube, Western newspapers and Facebook. I mean, does this necessarily stop anyone from doing what they want on the internet?
No, all dictatorships, they fear the free flow of information, and they want to clamp down on that. Yeah. They want to control information. So their methods, it's similar, and it just depends, you know, how eager the population is to get around these restrictions. And the Iranian population is very eager to get around these restrictions.
I should probably point out the Iranian leadership probably doesn't describe itself as a dictatorship, but we'll leave that for another time.
You wouldn't expect it to.
Thanks very much for coming in, Potkin.
Thank you,
we appreciate it. All right. Well, Indonesian...
Testers are